Dr. Bruce, tip 28, and this is a good one because this is where you start really making some changes in your practice. You want new patients? Well, put a person on it. Instead of always throwing your stuff out into the newspaper or just trying to guessing around, get a public relations assistant. And the crazy thing is, once you hire someone and give them a job, their job is to get new patients. That's their product. If they don't get new patients, they don't stay involved. And somewhere in this world, you're going to be paid $2,000 to $3,000 a month. But what if they bring you 10, 15 new patients a month? On top of that, if you spent $3,000 a month in advertising, what would you have to get? So I like personal relations assistants, and public relations assistants can also work in the office as well as out of the office, and they get everything going. But you know what? It takes a certain person, outgoing, personable, they got to be goal-oriented. Not everyone is goal-oriented, and a lot of times we look at giving people bonuses that are staff members, and the truth is a lot of employees are more motivated by security than they are goals. So you'll find a person that's going to be a public relations assistant will be one who's actually more like a salesperson, a marketing person that does have some goals, money goals. They need to understand chiropractic. If you're going to be marketing for you, put them to school. I mean, in your office, whatever, but they're going to have to go ahead and understand that. Dependable, persistent. This is an entrepreneur person. This is a self-starter. This is a person who doesn't need to be motivated by you every day to get out of bed. They know that they share your vision and they want to sit there and help you get to the next level. And they get rewarded as it does. So it's a sales position. And of course, their product, though, is new patients. They contact and schedule meetings, and these are things that never happen when the doctor's in charge. Meetings, lectures, talks in front of people is how you build a great practice. And if you do not have someone doing it, it doesn't get done. We get busy seeing patients all day. By the time end of the day, our brain's tired. We don't want to sit there now and start doing that. But if it's their job, it makes a difference. And look at these jobs. They do outside workshops, office workshops, open houses. Open houses, by the way, is one of my favorite little tips. You know how you go around, you hand out cards or you get cards from people? I recommend you get cards more than you hand out cards. If you give your card to someone, it's up to them now to call you. If you get their card from them, you can call them. And so if I go to like a social meeting or a social networking meeting and something like that, or a business networking meeting, I get people's cards. And then I'll call them and say, hey, we met the other night, at the Kiwanis Club meeting, we started talking. I'd like to, kind of follow it up. How about coffee? And you go out and meet the person for coffee, and you ask them all about their business. Ask them about their business. And when you're really interested in their business, all of a sudden they become interested in yours. But more importantly, I focus on their business when I take people out. When I meet people at social networking meetings, I always focus on their business. People love to talk about themselves. They love to talk about their business. So I always focus on them. And then I walk with it. They go, that's a nice guy. He talks about my favorite subject, which is me. So that being the case, it's a great thing. Now you have their card and you have their affinity. And then you give them a call. Hey, Mrs. Jones, this is Bruce Parker. We were talking the other day. Guess what? I'm having a little get-together in my office next week. It's Thursday between 4:30 and 7. Just a few people coming by, and I'd like to see if you'd like to come by and I'll show you around my office. And out of just maybe guilt or obligation, they'll do it. Now, these open houses, you don't bring 20 or 30 people and you don't cater it and have it full of wine they spill on your floor. You maybe invite 5 to 10 people and you have them come different times. So when they come, there's only maybe one other person around. And what you do is you take them for a tour of your clinic. And as you tour your clinic, you talk about, well, this is our examination room, and then show them your diagnostic tools. And then say, hey, you want to try this? And do a scan on them or whatever. But you walk up to the office explaining what every room does, and then you sit there and try to get them into the conversation. Inevitably, but by the time you're finished, they want to get examined. And it's a crazy deal. And you always say, well, if you'd like to, so what do you think about our office? Great. And did you learn something about chiropractic today? Oh, yeah, it's interesting. It's different. I never thought about it this way. I go, you probably right now want to be examined yourself, don't you? They go, well, I wouldn't mind it. I said, well, great. Hey, you're a friend of mine. I tell you what, let's take you at the front desk. We'll give you I'll give you a complimentary evaluation. And we can schedule it at a different time though, and you can come on back. Great. So we schedule them, and we'll make 7 out of 10 patients. 7 out of 10 patients that day, because we got them interested through this personal open house. Patient appreciation days traditionally are when people give away free services all day. They're a total waste of time, in my opinion, and I don't do them anymore. But what I do is I still have Friends and Family Day, where the goal, because I always ask people, why do you do patient appreciation days? They go, well, to get new patients. So why do you give away, if you announce all week they got free care one day, where I ran stats on a lot of offices, and what happened was that week they saw about the same amount of people. They just all saw them on Saturday for free, and their actual income went down. When people are under care, getting one free adjustment's not really a motivator. It's another adjustment. They're there anyway under care. So what motivates them is having an opportunity to bring in their friends or family to be evaluated. That's, in their mind, that's the most expensive stuff. And so what we do that day is we have Friends and Family Day, and we have their people bring in their friends and their family to be evaluated. Examination, x-rays, thermoscans, all those things. And then we have them come back the next week, for a report of findings. But we're giving them the opportunity to get, to have that fee, which they look at as a savings, and it's a savings to the patient because they don't have to pay for that time. And it gets now you're more overt to what you really, really wanted. Extended health consultations, what we used to call our new patient orientations, but any type of situation that the doctor is going to be with one or more people, the CA can do that. Mall shows. I know people don't do screenings that much anymore. They're still one of the best things to do. If you're not doing them, you're crazy, because it's a way to convert people to care and introduce them to care. And I can tell you story after story after story of people that we found that came to our spinal screening and ended up getting under care and had their life changed. So we need to get back to doing those things, and they're very good. They simulate referrals in the office, and they supervise how the office looks. They make sure that it's under care, and they go through the newspaper. It's one job. Do you do this? I go through the newspaper all the time to see what other people in my town or my city are doing. Other doctors, other chiropractors. I want to keep up with it, and they'll also, we have them look for medicine in the news. Maybe some medicine horror stories. That are in as an article. Clip them out. They request testimonials from patients, and we have a whole way we do that. We have new patient newsletters, birthday cards. By the way, this has all been automated now in our system, so you have the opportunity for that. But if you're not having it automated, you need to do it. This keeps people connected. Remember, our goal is connecting chiropractic to the community. So newsletters, birthday cards, introduction mailing. When somebody comes in new to the community, we send them information about our office. We give office tours. Sometimes we just invite somebody in and give them a tour, and the CA will take them around, when they're shopping, and instead of just taking them straight to an examination room, somebody comes in and asks about our office, she'll take them on a tour. It's a way of building rapport. Direct mailing, I think, is something that we all should do. You should be mailing, at least a couple thousand, pieces a month, rotating around your community. More if better, if you have the revenues for that. Speaking engagements, you're not going to arrange them, but she does, or he does. Back schools and back to school. We used to call back to schools. Every year when school got back into place, we'd always do scoliosis screenings. We got doing that there. And the way we do scoliosis screenings is we do the screenings, and then we call the parents and ask them to come to our office for a report of findings. When we found people, that they're in balance. So that worked pretty well. Any community speaking, local schools talking on chiropractic, patient recalls, inactive people. I have a long story on that, but inactive patient recalls, they just call up and they don't try to get them back in. They just call up and say hi and start a conversation. The best way to do anything in life is establishing rapport. So she'll call them once in a while to see how they're doing. And after a while, she'll call them again, and they get them on the list, and they usually always will reactivate. Health packages to local businesses. We used to always put together, information on chiropractic and ergonomic lifting and all those types of things, and they take them out to the business. They do surveys. One good thing in the practice to do is have focus groups. You invite maybe 10 people to dinner, and they interview them about their experiences as a patient in the office, and they turn those people into advocates for our office. The care orientation reports. We basically would have people. I don't like using this word treatment, but there it is. Sorry about that. Old notes, I think. But the reports basically were we orient people on where they are. We show them where they are in the beginning and where they're going to. We try to orient them to create contrast. When we talk about a high hip, what's that mean? So she goes through and we'll go through some graphic things and let people know where they are and where our goals are. Our new patient orientation, they schedule that every Tuesday at 5:30. I told you earlier. They schedule that, make people there. Also, we use them for exercise and posture training in our we do core strengthening. Believe in it pretty strong. So they work in that office there. Business alliances. As an example, one of my businesses was a dentist, and we kept a good liaison with that dentist. We would take care of their staff, and they would take care of our staff, and we would also share mailing lists. So we would take and I would introduce to my patients, the dentist. I'd send out all my patients information about the dentist and say, and Dr. Dentist is offering you a complete, hygiene appointment for normally a couple $100 for $10 for $20, whatever. And we would cross-reference. So he would send out introduction letters about my service to his patients. I would send out stuff to my patients, and we'd do that back and forth. Patient referrals. We used to have a lot of times where people, we talked to. She would go in the office and talk to people and just give the concept of do you know anybody right now that's that might be able to benefit from our services, and start a conversation. And maybe sometimes they would kind of double team someone. If you tell a patient to tell their friends, and here's a couple cards, they don't do it. But she might say, well, who do you know right now that would probably benefit from our care, who's maybe afraid of it? Oh, Sally. Okay, so what can we do to get Sally under care? And they'd kind of sit there and I don't want to say kind of, what's the word, not collaborate, but it became their plan to go in there. It's the tip of my tongue. I can't believe I can't say it. So guess what? Bruce is human and has a limited vocabulary. Doctor and all doesn't know the English language, but they would collaborate on trying to get people into the office, and at that point, help the referral things. Our Patient Speaks was also a testimonial thing, and then back to Patients as Partners programs, which again was our focus groups, things like this. So these are all the things you can be doing that if you notice a long list, you're not going to do it. You're busy seeing patients, and you want to do other things. Get somebody whose strict job it is to do all the things you can do, and there's like a couple hundred things you can do in your practice, and when you have somebody that's their job, guess what? It gets done. And when it gets done, it gets new patients, and that's what you want. Dr. Bruce, see you on the next video.